Good afternoon, I'm Ben McClements.
I'm Ayanna Russell, and we welcome you to Rise Up.
All semester, students at Rowan University have been out in the community, capturing stories about overcoming obstacles big and small.
From school events to local organizations, some obstacles physical, some invisible, and all touching. What connects these stories is the way purpose is found in the unexpected.
First on our list is a garden event organized by Flower Power,
where students and volunteers come together to plant, create, and support one another, all in the quiet comfort of a patient's backyard.
In a small neighborhood in Collingswood, New Jersey, a story of inspiration and social impact resides within nature.
Attaboy. Attaboy. Okay. Maybe 2 hands on that one. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Come on. Okay, ready? 1, 2.
All right, everybody, gather around. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Donna Helms, and I have a nonprofit called Flower Power. We fight cancer one flower at a time. When I was going through treatment, it was very difficult. It's scary. You don't know what the future holds. It's scans, it's surgeries, it's being tired all the time. And when I was going through my cancer journey, I lived in a townhouse. I had a small deck, and I had a friend brought flowers and would water the flowers, and I could sit, you know, it was colorful, there's bees. I didn't have to think about my test results. I didn't have to think about doctor's appointments. I could just be connected to life, and I really appreciated that. I felt like it helped me a lot. And I always wanted to give that back to other people who are facing the same journey. So about 2 years ago, I was finally in the position that I thought, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I'm really excited about the response that we've had and the people that we've been able to help. We've done about 5 gardens so far in 2 years. So the idea of Flower Power is we fight cancer one flower at a time. So if you're going through treatment, you have a lot, you know, with scheduling, doctor's appointments. So we will help take care of your house, like mow your lawn, weed, water, you know, take away the bills of landscaping and just help your time a little bit. We've also worked with some great people to help us put in new gardens for some of our people who are finishing their cancer journey. So I'm really excited to be able to connect like nature-based programs to support people on their journey, as well as I'm learning, and as all of us will learn today, how to do it in a sustainable way. So we not only help ourselves, but we can help Mother Nature along as well.
A knowledgeable visitor came to inform an invested audience about sustainable landscaping.
So over here, we're gonna just rake up what's here, and in the nature of repurposing and reusing what we have, we're gonna haul all these leaves away, but I'm not gonna take them to a dump or anything like that. I have chickens that's gonna be used in my chicken run so that we can kind of keep that sustainability cycle going. The leaves that we pick up go in the trash bag and go right into that truck there, and again, I'll haul that off site to be used agriculturally. But
Are you going to throw in the dumpster?
not the dumpster, I'm putting it in a chicken coop. So my chickens are gonna pick through it and they're gonna shred it up. I know, crazy, right?
Those who seek a new purpose through treatment can find the true power of flowers.
I think it's really important, stress reduction. I think for your mindset, I think that can't be discounted. You're going through treatment, you have your immune system's lessened. So to be able to find ways to sustain yourself and to feel hopeful and to feel connected, I don't think, you can't bottle that, but it's extremely important to your recovery.
The future of this nonprofit organization is as bright as ever, thanks to its dedicated founder.
I would love to do as long as possible. Like I said, I started it 2 years ago, and I really thought maybe we'll help 1 or 2 people. And now, I think next year already we have 2 projects. We already have people signing up. Because another big part of what we do is maybe you don't want a new garden, but you need help taking care of your garden because you're tired, your family's having to take you to treatment. So we have volunteers. They're amazing. People are, so kind. And we've had people come and mow lawns, water, weeds. So you don't have to think about that. You don't have to pay a landscaping bill. So that's important. So I'll keep going as long as possible.
Full of volunteers and a garden with room for everyone, Flower Power has turned healing into a community, one plant, one person at a time.
Beautiful story. Now, from garden to game day, we'll take a look at a motivational story of a blind sports broadcaster and how he pursues his passion of calling games, despite the fact that he can't see them.
McCain comes out of the pack. McCain up the court to Chandler. Chandler the lob. Beauchamp the finish.
Right there, Jared McCain making his first impactful play of the game, knocking the ball away and getting the ball up court to Chandler, to Beauchamp. Great job by the Blue Coats.
I am Alan Wiley, Allan Wylie. So to prepare for a game, I do quite a bit. What I usually do is I try to get as much stats on key players as I can. So right now, I'd be on ESPN looking at the opposing team's last game, or if the Blue Coats are on a road trip, I'll be looking at their last game too on ESPN and look at the, the stats, the box score, the play-by-play that ESPN has on that game. And that's really a lifesaver for me, because if I can do that and I get that, I know quite a bit about each team's tendencies because of how many three-point shots they shoot, how many jumpers, their offensive and defensive boards, things like that. Another thing I do is I try to find any articles about the type of game I'm looking for. So I'll look at the articles for both teams from their last game. So let's say it's the Maine Celtics versus the Delaware Blue Coats. I'll look at a Celtics article and then I'll look at a Blue Coats article. And that kind of just gives me some insight on what each team's doing, how each team is preparing for the upcoming game, what they did well last game, what they need to improve on, things like that. And then I'll usually watch some highlights of games in the past. So from the opponent for Delaware, I would know what they're best at. I would know who their best players are. And a combination of that, along with looking at three-point percentage, looking at rankings and scoring stuff, that really helps me out. And that gives me good opportunities to see what I need to know for the game, what is the best things to kind of say about the game. It's better to have too much prep than too little. And right now, I'm looking at some pregame coverage of the Skyhawks versus Blue Coats game on November 28th. Just things like that. And if it's AI or something, okay, that works for me because at least I can get basics down. But any information I can get on either team, whether it's coaches talking, players talking, stats, is definitely useful. That always works for me. That's always been a lifesaver for me since I was in high school. And it hasn't changed today. Yeah, so I was actually watching a football game, a Michigan football game. I was about 11 years old. And because before I wanted to be a police officer, but as I got older, I'm like, well, do I really want to do that? And then so I really didn't have any idea what I wanted to do until I was watching football. And the guys that were doing the Michigan game, Jim Brandstatter and Dan Dierdorf, they're actually teammates back in the 60s. They've retired now. But they actually inspired me because Dierdorf was doing color commentary. I'm like, look, I probably couldn't do play-by-play, but I can do what Dan Dierdorf is doing.
Welcome inside the Chase Fieldhouse, everyone, here in Wilmington, Delaware. My name is Owen Caldwell. I am joined by Alan Wiley.
I think the first memories I can remember are listening to Cleveland baseball games when I was going to sleep on my radio, because that's how I would go to sleep. And it really started from there. Tom Hamilton, who still does the Guardians, then it was Indians, I would listen to him. I actually got to meet him quite a few times. He's a great guy. Listened to the Cleveland Cavaliers with the great and now passed away Joe Tate. So that's really what really made me fall in love with it, and then it just kind of evolved from there.
He was favored for the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, and then he got hurt. But, yeah, this is a Jared McCain guy that I expect to have a great impact on the Sixers organization for years to come. He's out of Duke, as you mentioned, under Coach John Shire, Shire's second year at Duke, and he played very, very well at Duke. He was a standout player in the ACC. It's interesting because I don't think their paths quite crossed, but his teammate tonight, Hunter Salas, went to Wake Forest, one of Duke's notable rivals. So, kind of a interesting little conundrum there.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a part of me that is still looking to prove people wrong, but I didn't let it get to me because my parents knew I could do it. So I was like, as long as I got the family support, I'm good. Like, you know, if the other teachers support me, I don't really care. I mean, it would be cool if they did, but I didn't really mind. And they didn't up until high school, and then they're like, oh, well, this is actually a legit career path. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of motivated me because people are telling me to be more realistic, and then I'm like, well, that's realistic to me. So if you don't like it, go, you know, find somebody else. I have an orientation and mobility specialist that'll come and see me occasionally. I usually do sighted guide where I'll grab the person's elbow and then I just walk with them. That's my main source of getting around for walking. I have topographical disorder or disorientation, which makes it even harder for me to map out things than it would for your average blind guy. So that's been difficult, but I mean, we've figured it out. The accessibility office here has been very good. The friends I've made have been very good about it. So I have help with cutting stuff. My parents or whoever's with me, I'll ask them, you know, can you help me without the... I usually just use like the, I don't know, what part of the fork is it? Not the things you pick up the food with, but like the back end of it to kind of at least break food up. But I use utensils mainly just how like you would use them or how anybody else would use them. I use my hand to navigate around the plate, I think, a little bit more than people would use them. But other than that, I use the utensils as like your basic average Joe. Really. Honestly, it's not too much of a, how do I say this? It's not too much of a visual thing. I mean, I do imagine if like people are tall or short, but it's more like their personality-wise. Like, that's how I usually picture people. Obviously, you know, like I have visual images, but it's harder for me to do that. So I mainly just use like auditory clues on how people sound, and then I kind of just picture them off of that. So like all I care about is if somebody's nice to me and respectful to me, you could have blue hair for all, like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't, like not that I, you know, not in a mean way or anything, but I don't really mind what they look like. Okay. Like as long as you're good to me and you're good to people around, like that's all that's my number one concern.
Alan's story is motivating, and we wish him best of luck in the future.
Next, we look at the Bandoleros, a Jeep club that supports community through charity, clothing drives, and even a fundraiser for a little girl facing a serious heart condition.
My name is Miguel Gonzalez, president of the Taínos Los Bandoleros Jeep Club.
And I'm Linda. I'm his sister. I'm one of the team members of the Jeep Club.
When and where did the club begin?
The club began in July 2024, right here in our community of Camden, New Jersey. I wanted to bring people together and give back to the community. I started only with me, my wife, my sister, and Los Taínos Intocables, just a small little group. The club gives the name as a joke. It was the president of Los Taínos Los Intocables Club. We was in his clubhouse having a get together, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, Miguel, I want you to save this name for me." And I was like, "Well, what you want me to go down and write it down to?" I was like, "Well, I got my notes. I put down," he told me, "Los Bandoleros." So that night, I sat down with my wife. I said, "I like that name." So early in the morning, I called the president of Los Taínos Intocables, and I asked him, "Hey, can I use that name, Los Bandoleros?" He said, "Well, which one you use?" I was like, "A club that I want to create." So the name would have been Taínos Los Bandoleros Jeep Club LLC. My goal was to help people stay active in the community and build a strong team to help our community. We help people in need and bring support and positivity to the community.
We've done event fundraisers, donations, and feed the homeless once a month, and we also help families in need.
Los Bandoleros helped host a fundraiser for a young girl named Melody, who is battling a rare heart condition. What did it mean to you in the club to support Melanie and her family during such a difficult time?
Supporting Melanie to us meant, that we supported her family, meant everything to us. It reminded us why our club exists, to stand with our community when they need love, strength, and support the most.
The Melody just started on a Sunday. Me and my wife was going to sleep, and my wife saw the phone on Facebook, saw Melanie that she needed a heart transplant. And she called me and said, man, what you think about this little girl that needs some help from us? So I said, well, we wake up in the morning, we'll find out who's the parent are, where's the baby located at, and see what we can do for little Melanie. It took us between less than a week to get this event done, but it was a wonderful thing to jump into it, and big experience.
This cause was important for us to support because Melanie's family was going through something no one should ever face alone. We wanted to show them that our community stands together, especially in moments of fear and uncertainty. We want members to learn teamwork, kindness, and joy of helping others. We create events, we feed the most needy, because our community needs unity, support, and people who care like we do.
It keeps me motivated to continue leading the club. Is seeing the impact we make every time we help someone bring people together or lift up the community. It reminds me why this work matters and growth unity, and the heart for our members inspires to keep going. It has grown with the more members, more events, a bigger impact on our community. Helping Canada is personally important to me because this is my home. I have seen the struggle, but I also seen the strength and the spirit of the people who gave them back is my way of showing pride, lifting others up and helping our city move forward. It feels amazing to see how far the club has come, watching us grow, unite, and make a real impact in the community. Fills me with pride and reminds me why I started in the first place.
A truly touching story about how a local Jeep club raised money for Melanie's heart transplant.
Our next story comes from Dr. Renea, who shares her adoption story, a journey filled with questions, challenges, and ultimately a deep sense of home.
I think the main thing that I do is I empower and uplift people. I pour in love to those who are fractured in some way. And everything that I do, I see the holistic person. I don't just break her or him into pieces. I do a lot of work working with women who are in the criminal justice system, if you will. I have a new project now that I'm working on, which is working with women who have been touched by cancer. I am pouring into them, letting them know that it's all about mindset, how you're showing up, how you see yourself. And so I'm a vessel of love, and I pour into folk. That's what I do. So I never had a stable home, and so wherever I was able to find a safe place for the most part is where I stayed. But it was between my aunts and cousins in Philadelphia and my siblings in Boston. She died when I was 2, so I never really had any time with her that I can recall. So I can't really tell you outside of what other people have said about her. She was a church-going woman. She had a lot of children, but, she was a church-going woman, and I mean, that's all I really knew about her. remember the last time I was put out of somebody's house and moving back to my aunt's. I would always pray. I would pray for just three things. I would pray for a mother to call my own because, you see, my mom died when I was 2. And my father was a raging alcoholic, so it was never available. And that's why I was back and forth between these houses. So I would pray for a house that I can live in to call my own. I would pray to have a room of my own so that I wouldn't have to share that. I also wanted to graduate from high school, right? But I didn't think that that was even possible, to be quite honest, because I couldn't read. I couldn't read when I was 15 years old. I would pray for these things, and God dropped this woman right next door to my aunt. And that woman selected me out of all of those people to be her daughter. She literally made friends with my aunt. And she wanted me to hang out with her. She became my mentor. She would take me places. She would help me with school. And one day I just said, I can't take it anymore. So I said I was leaving. Well, Susan said, can I take you out to dinner? And she said, how would you like to be adopted? And I got what I wanted in that one body. Like God she showed up next door. She literally wanted to be my mom. She wanted to educate me. And she did everything she could so that I can show up in my greatness. And it was hard as hell. It was tough. It was really tough. And I say it like that jokingly, but it was tough because literally everything about who we are and how we show up on the planet is different. I mean, we cannot say that there is no difference. There is a difference. There is a difference in that she has privileges that I wouldn't have because of who I am as an African American. We actually, on both sides, she lost friends and family members because she adopted this chocolate child. There were white kids out here that you could be with, but she chose me. Man, it knocked the wind out of me because I lost her before she left the planet. Because of Alzheimer's, this brilliant, amazing mind was no longer functioning. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of seeing someone who is so amazingly brilliant to go from there to like she couldn't speak. She would always say to me 5 words, I love you, you know. And at the end of her life, got me. That was my girl. Those were 5 words that she could barely say to me. And just before she died, she was in a nursing home. I got on a plane and I went and got into bed with her. And the nurse said to me, she knows who you are. She hasn't opened her eyes for anyone. And I sat there with her and I said, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. Oh, it was tough. It was tough because she taught me unconditional love. I watched that life transition. She was my girl. Like that she changed the trajectory of my life. I had to do work too. Don't get it wrong. It wasn't like, oh, she was like, and that happened. I had to realize that I was worthy of that thing that she was teaching me, which was to show up in my greatness and work, put in the work, because the only thing that works is work. And I did it. Because she did it for me. And so I had to pay it forward. I wanted to really be able to pour more into other children. I would be so selfish if I didn't do that for other people. That's why I do what I do. That's why I pour in to other people. That's why I try to touch lives, because you never know what people are going through. You never know who you're touching. And so these 3 children, even though they get on my nerves, they're amazing. I have to pay it forward. For me, family's first. God and then family. Because I think if I could show up in my spiritual self, then I can connect with my family regardless of if it's the family that I create or my biological family. I want to show up for them wholeheartedly, nothing lacking, nothing broken. I want to be complete. And it's important for me, for them to know how important family is, that we come first. Family is first.
Family doesn't always begin at birth. If we're lucky, we get to choose, and sometimes we're chosen. That's Dr. Renee's story.
That's right. Now we'll look at the career of a decorated producer for ABC's Good Morning America.
Cleopatra Andreatis Esterly, and from Westchester, Pennsylvania. Well, I always joke that I could talk the balls off a pool table. So ever since I was little, that was always my thing. So I feel like at the end of the day, I was kind of predestined to get into something that was communications. And even though I fought it in high school, I wasn't sure. It's really hard to ask a 17, 18-year-old, what do you want to be when you grow up? But life just kind of kept pointing me in that direction. And so fast forward, I was doing the normal, looking for different schools to go to. Found American University in DC, fell in love with it. It happened to be, well, I joke that I started when I was 11, but actually I've been in the business for a little over 20 years. And then it was number 3 in the country for broadcast journalism. So again, another sign to get into communications. And the rest is history. Kind of fell in love with it. Was known when everybody else was having fun on the quad. I was the one that was with the 50-pound backpack with the camera, walking around doing stand-ups, and just fell in love with it ever since. But basically, I was a freshman at AU, and they offered a program that you would go and visit different people, alumni from all over. And they were offering this New York session, and they said it's really for juniors and seniors because we're going to focus on you getting a job. Well, I did not want to hear that. So I immediately went to the guidance counselor. I asked every day for about a week, is there any opening? Is there any opening? Every day, no, no, no. And then one day, it was 4:45 every day. I'll never forget it. I would go in and be like, any opening? Come on, you can't be completely full. And she said, yeah, you can go, but we leave tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay. So packed up, went to New York, and we had an amazing tour. One of the stops was Good Morning America, and I found the lady who was hiring for interns and said, here's my resume, let's chat, and the rest is history. I interned with them starting my freshman year, and again, these are the days I'm dating myself, but there was no such thing as a paid internship. I mean, I had to figure that out. I was working all the jobs and all the things to get myself to New York to intern there, and in DC where I lived to intern there, but obviously worth it. And I was able to work in weather, something that I still to this day stink at as far as like dressing appropriately, but I was able to do things that I never ever imagined that I would do and push myself to all those limits just in an internship, and then it transitioned into a job. Well, the second I got hired, I was an administrative assistant, and not knocking it, but that wasn't my dream. And I realized then I need to make this my dream somehow. So yes, I'm answering somebody else's phones, but I have to realize that I'm answering phones for the guy who's running the show. So everybody that comes in that door, I'm meeting, I'm getting to know, I'm making relationships with. I then volunteer to do shoots. I volunteer to go out and cover different stories, learn, apprentice with anybody who will take me at this point. And I joke I would go into different weekends. I lived in an apartment that if you spun around too fast, you would literally knock yourself out in New York. It was so tiny. So I'm trying to make ends meet like all of us. So again, you hear the superlatives of all the awards and that. No, it didn't start that way. I worked my tush off from the beginning, and with not really a set plan. I went in and then worked with weather for a few years. Then I worked with special events for a few years. Then I worked with news. Then 2020 took me, and I went and I was running the department over there. Then GMA wanted me back, so then I'm running entertainment. Some days really stunk. I mean, getting woken up in the morning, 2 o'clock for somebody's egg white omelet order, and you're like, what? No. But then being number 3 producing the Oscars red carpet show. Awesome. So it was very humbling. Every day is very humbling of when you wake up to, again, crazy requests and running errands and coffee orders, to meeting world leaders, traveling, doing all of this, to running big productions and shows. It's so rewarding. It was so fun, but never boring, ever. It was always 100. You were going 100 miles an hour, start to finish, every day, all day.
So you have a long career. You have all these events, all these awards. And then you get married.
Yes.
You have your first son.
Yes.
And now you're not with ABC anymore.
No.
How big of a decision was that? Was it difficult?
It is. But what's really cool is that the door's always open. Again, like, life closes enough for you that I'm a big believer in seasons and being intentional with the season that you're in. And I'm super blessed, not to sound cliche, like, you know, I hit a level in my career that I'm really proud of. And I'm really proud to not exit it completely on that high, but I put it on pause at a pretty good note. So now I'm very lucky that I was able to find my person a little later in life, because again, life ebbs and flows. It can't all hit at all times. You can have it all, but I think it's like burners on a stove. So what I've learned through it is that having my family and the foundation that I've learned at ABC, again, it's not all just working for the #1 broadcast outlet and you can get it all going. You can have it all in that, how do all the segments get on TV? There's publicists who pitch it. There's marketing teams who make it all happen. I know and learned because I would often help people. If I got a terrible pitch, I'd feel so bad for them, I would help them get it on air at the end of the day, because it's like, it's like a puzzle. You want to figure it out. So it's nice now in this next season being the person a little bit behind the scenes, helping do a little more creative, working with people who need it most, a lot of media training, I'm going to be honest. And it's fun. I'm having a blast. And again, I think if you're not challenging yourself, then you should transition into something else that's going to challenge you more. So what I know is all doors are open, and we'll see what happens a little bit later down the line. But for right now, yeah, I'm loving this new adventure. Would you, when I was at AU, have said, oh, you're going to start off as an administrative assistant, you're going to be flying into storms and tornadoes and hurricanes, covering the huge, big weather storm? No, I would have never thought I'd do any of the things that I'm doing. But what I've learned is when an opportunity presents itself, which it did in this case, timing really sometimes, again, not to sound cliche, it doesn't make it easy. It's hard, and it was very hard to transition because you miss it, and it's a part of your life. It's who you are for 20 years. But moving now into something that's in a similar space, that it's still working with the same people and growing in other areas is just, it's been really rewarding. Very challenging, but I love that. So yeah, so far so good.
So now, reflecting on your whole career at ABC, at American, and what you're doing now, if you could describe all that into like just one single word or one topic or whatever you want to call it, what would you make it?
That's a really good question. I mean, I don't know. That's really good. I guess it's like ever changing. It's evolving, growing, learning. Challenging. I think at the end of the day, always, for me, at the end of the day, always greeting every opportunity with a yes. That doesn't mean, give all of your efforts to everything all the time, all the projects. They have to be worthwhile. But any opportunity that presents itself, you never know who you're going to meet at that opportunity, where things could go from there. And so that's what I've done. That's what I like to do. That's what I intend to continue to do. And that's why if I hadn't, I wouldn't be here right now. A, talking with you, but B, in this next new adventure, if somebody hadn't said, you know, you'd be really great with this. You'd be great kind of consulting and doing this and doing your own thing. And maybe you want to work with this person or this head of this university who like is terrible on camera, but let's like work with them, or this sports figure who is, so you want to like shape him up a little. So all of those things, it's really challenging. If I hadn't have said yes to an opportunity to go and meet, I wouldn't be where I am now.
What a journey that exemplifies determination and pure passion in the field of television production.
Thank you for joining us as we showcased overcoming challenges on Rise Up. We'll see you next time to discuss more feel-good stories. Goodbye.